So there it is. This thing was full. I overfilled it. I went beyond the line. You're not supposed to go beyond this line, and I went up to here. So I'm glad that things are not bad. And I also put in avocado pits, which I think you're not supposed to do. But it worked. So there. That's what comes out of it. And that's nice. The amount of power that it used this time, this is what it looks like, by the way, down there. It's just like a blender. The amount of power it used was substantially more. So this time it's 0.865 kilowatt hours. So that is 865 watts that were used. And it was on for, well, yes, 14 hours, but it wasn't really on for 14 hours because it goes through drying, grinding, cooling. I don't need to change the filter. Anyway, drying, grinding, and cooling, and then it shuts off. So it's usually about 5 hours that it runs, but we let it go overnight, which a lot of people are going to do. You're going to load it up with your food waste. You're going to put it inside. You're going to drop the bucket down in. You're going to put the top on and lock it, and then you're going to press the on button, and it's going to cycle through the drying, the grinding, the cooling in about 5 hours. More or less. We'd have to watch it. But we just put it in last night and went to sleep. Obviously 14 hours later, we come back, and it's gone through the cycle, but it used 865 watts. So that's almost a kilowatt of power for a full load. It's about 3/4 full, this bucket here. So we'll run it again. This time we will use this. Of course, we want this for the garden, so let me find this. So what you can do, so this is all that food waste from last night. You can just throw it out here for the chickens. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Come here, guys. Come here. Let's see what they do with it. Let's see. Just a pile of it. That's what the food waste was. And now we're beginning to get possibly some interest. No? Ground and dried, you don't really know what to do with it, do they? That's interesting. You'd think the chickens would know what to do with it. I guess they're getting a little bit of interest, but they ain't running to it like they would if it was wet. They may go at that. It's sitting right there, the pile. All right, that's interesting. We'll see later on if they make anything of it. I think because there's a lot of avocado peels and orange peels, that'd be why they're not so interested. But you can just pour it on the garden. You don't need a compost bin. So there is that. The necessity of a compost bin may deter some people, particularly in urban areas. Here you could just pour it on your porch in a flower pot. Yeah, he's not really interested in that food waste. Very interesting. Not interested at all. Anyway, meanwhile, back in here, we will still left a little in there. I'll pour this in. Morning's food waste. You got banana peels. You got tea bags. You got paper towel. Certainly the banana peel. And the tea bags and orange peels. We don't have a lot from last night. So, pop that back in. And, yeah, that's been popped in. Put the lid back on. All right. Now, before we we have it recorded there, so we're going to clear this out. Let's clear out the 865. Clear it. Clear out the number of hours. Loading that down. There we go. Right. So we are ready to start it again. Starts with the drying. And so I'm pleased that at least it did do like 4 avocado pits. All right, 413 watts. And it is on. Let me bring that back. So another trial begins to get an average of how much energy we're using depending on different loads. This is a light load, so I can't imagine that it will use as much as the heavy load. That would be crazy. For the drying, certainly it'll use probably as much because it doesn't know from big load or small load, but the grinder has to work harder to grind up like avocado pits and stuff. So that's why we had 865 as opposed to what we had 635 the other day with a lighter load. So it's just like doing laundry in a sense. All right, check with you later.